Mm-hmm.
Who knew about her life? Who knew that she was a dancer all through her 90s, and at 99 she comes back to her original home and does all these incredible things and still going strong. So I wanted to get the word out about these amazing women and try to change the perception that we have about how we age and what's age appropriate, because we internalize these negative messages about aging, right? And so women as a whole. And so the whole point about last week was about how do we envision the next decades to go. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and how can we? Because when we decide, oh, at 80, I'm just going to be, in a wheelchair, you will be. Okay, because your body's going to go where your mind takes it. So I had two different lifestyles to compare to. So my mom was, a professional woman, but and in the medical field, she was a registered nurse, but a lot of people in the medical industry are not fit people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they take care of everybody else, but they don't invest in their own health. You go into most medical offices today and everybody's overweight. So they're not living healthy lifestyles at all. The docs don't get any kind of really formal training on preventative medicine. What they
Mm-hmm.
get is what to do when you're already ill. And a lot of their training is funded by the pharmaceutical industry. And so what they understand is how to help you once you're ill, keeping you on medication that then causes other problems. Right? So I had these two different avenues to take a look at. So my mom was sedentary. I never ever saw her exercise. She was a sugarholic. Loved anything that, when you used to have table sugar on, for everything, and then you have the sugary breakfast cereals and you put sugar on it. That would be her. And when she drank coffee, it would be coffee, cream, and lots of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that, I thought, when I drink coffee, I'm never putting anything in it because I thought, I'm seeing her get heavier and heavier, and that was one cause of it. I had a dad, on the other hand, that was totally energetic, totally, sugar free, um, exercised every day of his life. In his last few years, when I would go to visit, I would see these little small weights around the house. And well, he never talked really about it. He was a swimmer and he played tennis, but never to really talked about the weights. But obviously, he was reminding himself he needed to use those little weights during the day. So his lifestyle versus her lifestyle, she passed away at 90, almost 98. But the last 14 years of her life were a downward slide, the kind of life that we hope never to have to live, where you've got total dependency, you're slipping away. He, on the other hand, was looking for the gym in his 90s so that he could go swimming. So he lived a more, a quality of life that she did not have a chance to experience. So those are the two avenues, two pathways that I could see. I didn't really want to go down her pathway. I wanted to go down his pathway, but life gets in the way. So I had been an academician for 40 plus years. I was a president of 3 colleges for 20 years. I did that. And then I was watching my colleagues get stressed out, drinking, or getting heavy, or just having strokes, heart issues, and I think I was getting heavy, and I was chasing all the things, well, this diet versus that diet. We know diets don't work,
Mm-hmm.
but we want the magic pill. Okay, so there's, and the advertising is so attractive, right? It tells us you can, the pounds would just melt away. And so anyway, watching my colleagues decline, seeing myself decline, and knowing that there had to be a better way, I would introduce these little programs at my colleges for the employees, and then I never participated. And so in my last position, as I saw one of the presidents pass away literally on the job. Okay, so he lived 4 hours of sleep a night. He had a trainer, but he lived on Diet Cokes. Okay, so that's what kept him going 4 hours, and very, very stressed. He was president of UNR, University of Nevada, Reno here. And so I asked the chancellor at the time, I said, can we have an executive physical? Because maybe that he would have had an intervention. Maybe someone would have said, you can't live on 4 hours of sleep. Diet Coke. Get a trainer. I think it's all going to work out well. Mm-hmm. It isn't. There's too much stress in your life. There's no tools to reduce that. It's going down fast. There was absolutely zero interest in that. Zero. And so that's when I really decided I had to do it myself, right? Because nobody else cared. They were just going to say, if I passed away at my desk, we have to do another search. Mm-hmm. And so that was, I think, kind of a trigger for me to say, I gotta look at my own health going forward. So as I'm trying to put my finances together to retire, my financial advisor, who had been my advisor over the past 10 years, saw me get, fatter and fatter and fatter. He said, you really should see my trainer. And I thought, oh, for heaven's sakes. All the stereotypes that women believe about training, that you're going to bulk up, you're going to be the Hulk, you're going to look, unfeminine. I believed all of that. So we had weights around our house for decades. They would go from one home to the next home to the next home. And I used to hang my clothes on them because I thought, what utility do they have? And now they're the center of everything. So I booked an appointment with a trainer, and he was like, have 36 sessions. He was an international bodybuilder, and a little bit older. So
how old were you at the time?
So I started.
How old were you at the time?
69.
69. Okay.
I was 69. So I booked the appointment in very, very baggy clothes because I was so ashamed, of how heavy I was. And he required the 36 sessions. And so then I believed, okay, 36 sessions, it's pretty pricey. And I thought, okay, I'll be good. I will have lost all my weight. I'll be great. And I'll be done with this guy. And so he did talk about nutrition with me, but it was bodybuilder nutrition, which is not sustainable because it's so completely rigid with no variety to it. So I started to see I was getting stronger in about 6 months or so. By 8 months, I could see like a little tiny bit of muscle. And then, but I didn't have the nutrition piece. Okay, so because I couldn't do what he was saying. Mm-hmm. It was two protein shakes, chicken, broccoli, cauliflower, pretty much that's it. So I couldn't do it. And
so what was your highest weight when you went to see this trainer?
142. Okay. And I'm just 5'1", 5'2", 5'1.5". Okay, so there's no place to put the fat, Mm-hmm. It's right out there. The last competition I did, I was 111. So that's a big drop. So I started exploring what could I learn about nutrition. So I entered this the Health Coach Institute. So that gave me the nutritional piece. So I was my first client. I did what the program said to do. And it all, of course, worked out. Now you have variety. There is no diet. There's a meal plan. There's a lot about sugar and how it affects the body and what to do and how to get a mindset about eating. We don't hear that. There's a whole science behind how we eat, when we eat. I am now really working with the whole idea of intermittent fasting, and it has its pros and its cons. And I think that it's difficult to do a 16-hour fast. You really have to work up to it. Now, my trainer was doing it, and he felt it was very effective. He just started like 2 years ago. I'm still with him 6 years later. Okay.
So this is the same trainer, the bodybuilder trainer?
Bodybuilding trainer. And he's the one that said, 4 years ago, well, why don't you enter a competition? And I thought, well, okay, why not? And it was these competitions under bodybuilding, you have all these different categories. And so he said you could do the sports category. So sports category, where just your little bit a theme outfit. You could wear like a tennis outfit or any kind of workout outfit, and then you talk about your philosophy of health and wellness. So I thought that's what I would do. I will do that one. So that's how I started. I now do bikini. So
and as you should, Miss Fabulous.
So if somebody had told me 10 years ago, you'll be doing this, I would have said they're insane. They're insane. It was very heavy, and there was no way I was going to take off the baggy clothes. So that's kind of my story of how it evolved. And so let me go back to intermittent fasting. So she started that, and I thought, well, I don't know, because to me, it's very difficult. But what really convinced me that I should look at intermittent fasting is the work of Dr. David Sinclair out of Harvard University. So Sinclair really talks a lot about, he's a specialist on aging. He's written the book Lifespan, David Sinclair. Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to is the name of his book. And he talks about very in-depth about his research over the past 30 years. And so he's an internationally known speaker. And he's developed this, hopefully it goes on the market before too long, I don't know, in my lifetime it may be, but he's developed this little concoction that will address what fires up the gene that causes us to age. He's gotten his dad, who was in his 70s, late 70s, on the couch, not moving, etc., into being in his 80s, a world traveler, hiker. So he's gone from a sedentary person to out there really living an energized life. But beyond this little DNA activator that he has developed, there's still testing. He talks about a protocol that you can use. And so there's a number of MDs. He's a PhD, but really understands the science of how we age. There's another doc, Sarah Gottfried. Sarah wrote the book Younger, and she talks about every protocol that's an intervention for what we are genetically predisposed to. So we have in our genetics some sort of weakness. Okay, so we're going to go, we think this is going to happen to us. Okay, so she's saying, well, no, wait, there's an intervention that is supplementation, plus it's always what you eat and how you live. Okay, that's a simple, but she's got one for just about every, and it's called epigenetics. I think her research, Sarah Gottfried's research, and Daniel Sinclair's David Sinclair's research kind of connect with saying you can place an intervention into the way that you age. And one of those interventions that Sinclair mentions is intermittent fasting. So he really feels that that fires up that or retards the progression of that aging gene, and that we should be doing that. And he's saying stay a little hungry, stay a very, very healthy weight. He's really for those things. He also talks about strength training. So strength training to me was something I was never going to do. And what I found that it did is just change your body completely. Gives you something that nothing else can give you. And we don't ever hear about it. So if you're 50 and you go to your doc and you're overweight, the first thing they're going to say is, because I don't know, well, you need exercise. Maybe they'll say, you need exercise, but they don't know what to tell you to do. Or they'll say, you need to walk. Okay, and walking is fabulous. That's cardio, but it's not enough. So why does every elite athlete also add strength training? They know that's the edge. That's going to give them the level of performance that they really, really are looking for. So the ladies that I work with, so I train in my little home studio here, and they want to be able to get off the floor. They're on the floor with the grandkids. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to run after that new puppy. They want to be able to push that overnight case into the overhead bin on an airplane. These are basic things that we lose as we age. So they're not interested in a competition, of course. Mm-hmm. I take it to the farthest day.
I think that's why I resonate with you, because I have a tendency, like achievement is one of my core values. So whenever I'm doing something, I always want to achieve like the top.
The top level.
Yeah.
And you're still working as a realtor?
Yes.
Great.
My husband and I work as a team, and I do less of that and more. I'm also we build a network marketing business, send out cards as well. So that we've been doing for 14 years. And then, so I've got people all over the country that I have conversations with about that. But
okay. Can you go back to that? So I'm listening to you. It's getting hot in here. I'm listening to you through my cochlear implant. So you are a robotic voice. I don't hear your natural voice.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have like zero hearing in my right ear. So I had a cochlear implant about 2 months ago. So what they do is it's a surgery where you go in, it's a little filament that has receptors on it that goes into your cochlea. And then there's a larger receptor under the skin that's magnetized to another receptor. But then what it does is translates the voices that you hear into robotic voices. When you go slowly, and you've been doing great, thank you. I can get it, but my brain is learning how to understand what it's hearing.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that with me. I have 2 sons that are both hearing impaired. And one of them chooses to not wear hearing aids, which makes it very difficult to communicate with him. So I have learned to slow down, speak louder, more directly, so that he can, read my lips and listen to me. So I've had that my whole life of raising children for the last 42 years. So.
Wow. So they're both hard of hearing?
Yes.
One wears a hearing aid and one doesn't?
Well, our youngest son chooses not to, probably for financial reasons, that he's not willing to serve himself at this point. So he'll be 40 this year, and my oldest son will be 43. And then we have a daughter, Andrea, who's 41. So We had them very close together back in the
All right.
day.
I have one turning 40 this year too.
It's a great
Um,
age. I feel, Maria, I feel better at 61 than I did at 40.
I'm with you there. I am so much stronger today than I was at 50.
Hmm.
I can do things today I couldn't do at 50. So, what was the thing that you were saying about you go around the country and you've been doing this for 14 years?
We have a business, it's a network marketing business, and it's called Send Out Cards. So I've trained realtors, business owners, how to build relationships through keeping in touch and utilizing this amazing system of card sending called Send Out Cards.
Oh, Send Out Cards. That's the name of the business.
Yes.
Send Out Cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got Send Out Cars. I'm thinking, what cars?
Cards.
Cards.
Like,
Got it. Okay.
like this,
cards.
like this. So cards. I sent myself this to remind me of how I need to be strong. This is my handstand. That's another thing that connected us, because you're practicing handstands, and so this is my daily tens, and I do these movements every day
Really?
to build
Fabulous.
strength.
That's impressive what you do every day.
And that's only been since, well, today is, I keep track, it's 430 days. Consecutively, I've moved my body for at least 60 to 90 minutes a day. And
Fabulous.
I did not start out thinking I'm going to create a winning streak of 430 days. I started out one day at a time. I'm going to exercise today. And then I did it 5 days in a row. And then I did it through the weekend. And so I just kept going. And it's either a 30-minute body weight workout. A walk around my lake is 4 miles, so it takes me about an hour. It could be my daily tens. It could be going to the gym 3 days a week. I go to the gym. So I just set an intention. 60 minutes a day, I'm going to work out. And I haven't broken that streak yet. There may come a day when I'm not able to move my body 60 minutes, but I'm going to keep going until that day presents itself. So
absolutely,
that's my intention.
No, I mean, I think that is wonderful. I think as long as we have bodies that are intact and are able to move, we have an obligation. I mean, God gives us this body. We're very lucky. There are some people that are born with issues. We aren't. And then, you see people with perfectly good bodies and then they ruin them. I feel like as long as I'm okay, I feel the same way. As long as I have a healthy body, I got to make it move. I have to make it move. When we stop moving is when we start to atrophy. I think that there's the authors of Younger Next Year, 2 authors, one was Lodge, and I think the other is Cabot. Lodge, Crowley and Lodge. Those 2 authors wrote Younger Next Year. And it's either their philosophy, or now I'm thinking maybe it's David Sinclair from Lifespan. But what they are saying, either one of them, and it's pretty much the same. We either grow or we decay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our choice which one we pick. And it seems that a lot of people, as they age, think, okay, now it's time for cupcakes. Instead of, wait a minute, how is that going to go for me in my later years? How do I really want to live those later years? Those ladies that I was focusing on this past week, all of them lived vibrant lives right up to the end. right up to the last day, which is what we all hope to do. But if we don't invest in it, then that slips away as a possibility for us.
Mm-hmm. So and I agree too. I believe that I'm put here to inspire possibilities in others, because many people that know me from 3 years ago knew the 190-pound chubby grandma, fluffy grandma. We have 9 grandchildren, and I think sometimes women, people, and humans in general, they say, well, I'm entering my golden years. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to drink what I want to drink, eat what I want to eat, and watch what I want to watch. Because after all, if they drink what they want to drink, eat what they want to eat, all they have the energy for is to sit on the couch and watch what they want to watch. And
Right.
I found myself sitting on this very couch 3 years ago, knowing that there was something better. Like I knew I was better than what I was. I didn't really know what to do. I knew it started with nutrition though. See, with me,
Ah,
it started with nutrition. And I had I went to a weight loss clinic, and my doctor he's more of a naturopath. So it was really detoxing my body and eating the right foods. But then once I stopped the program, what happens? If you don't change in here and you change in
absolutely.
here, you're going to go back to your old habits. And that's what I was
Absolutely.
doing. And so my friend Wendy, she lives in Colorado. She was a Whole30 follower, and she went from 209 pounds down to like 140. And I took notice. I'm like, Wendy, like, talk to me about food. So we made a deal with each other. I would talk to her about finances, and she would help me with nutrition. And
Mm.
and so we would have weekly calls. And I was just looking this morning. I made a declaration on July 1st, 2019, that I was going to declare what my life looked like 59 onward. And I made a decision to detox my body, and I was saying good riddance to the foods that didn't serve me. And that was a really, like, I still remember that as an emotional day, because I also like sugar, and I didn't know if I could do it. But for 6 months, I was very stringent on the Whole30 plan, continued to drop the weight. Um, and it wasn't until I met my now health and fitness coach, Steve Trezek. He joined my business, my send out cards business, in the fall of 2019. We had our first conversation in January, and I vowed, Maria, that I was not going to be a gym person. I could do everything through nutrition. Well, I since found that that was incorrect. Movement really needs to happen in order to reach that next level of
Right.
physicality. And Steve he's also a natural bodybuilder, trainer, coach. And so just following his teachings, which are changing people from the inside out. Happiness is an inside job. Internally, we have to become, in our minds, that person we desire to be, and then start doing the things that support that person we would desire to become, so that we can wake up a year later and have the physical body that we've always. I didn't even do. I'm at the lowest weight. I didn't even see where I'm at in my mind before reaching this point, because I didn't know it was possible. Now I know it's possible, and I want to help other people to find that it's possible for them as well. It just takes it takes diligent habits and practice and finding you. Thank you for following me on Instagram so I could go, who is it? She's 75. What? Who is this woman? I need to know this woman. And then your group of amazing women who are committed to themselves, to live and be the best version of themselves as they age is a phenomenal space. So thank you for creating that.
Well, thank you. I think that there are groups forming, and of course, the boomers are going to be able to push this concept forward because we are big demographic. Can you hold on a second?
Yep.
Buddy. I'm not a good dog trainer.
You're a human trainer, not a dog trainer.
He's a spoiled baby. He just turned one, and between my husband and myself, we just, then all the wrong things you're supposed to do. All the things you're supposed to do to really train a dog, we haven't done. But you have to see him.
I have to see him. Aww.
Say hi.
Hi, buddy.
He can't hear you because no one can hear you because you're going through my cochlear implant.
Okay.
But isn't he a cutie?
Yes.
This is Buddy. Needs constant attention because we have spoiled this little dog rotten. We don't have any grandkids, and there doesn't look like there's any prospect of any coming soon. So this is it.
That's it.
Well, Gail, is there any other question you have for me? I think you've got it pretty much dialed in.
I'm thankful. I'm filled with gratitude that you took time out of your schedule to have a conversation with me. I love building relationships with people who are, where I desire to be. They say if you see something in someone that you admire, hang on to that person because they can teach you something. And just knowing your story now of where you started and where you are today and where you hope to continue to be in the future, you're just somebody that I'd like to just follow and be a part of because of who you are and what you're doing in the world. And I just thank you for letting your light shine so that others can feel encouraged, inspired, and rise up.
Well, thank you for the encouragement, Gail, because sometimes you wonder, it's like, I think this is good, but you don't get any feedback. You can start wondering about whether or not you're connecting at all. So I really appreciate your feedback, and we're going to keep going this week. Now I'm going to be talking about nutrition and a little bit more about the mindset, because of course, if you don't change that, you can know everything in the world, as you already know, about nutrition, and then you don't do anything. You don't do anything about it. You haven't the place you want to go in terms of changing. We did things in reverse. I did the exercise first and then the nutrition. You did the nutrition first, which I think is really the better way to go, to nail that, because you've got to get them both together. You have to nail that piece, because just what you said, if you don't change your behavior, then you revert to the same thing. And that's what most people do, is that they get on the diet and then they lose weight. And then they cannot sustain it. It's not a sustainable way. And there's always a new diet, and it will give you an immediate, or should, an immediate drop. And then you go back and then you gain more. Mm-hmm. So American Heart Society is saying that 2/3 of Americans are overweight or obese. We're just a fat country. what we put in our food should be illegal, and anything that's packaged. And a really good book is Lies They're Feeding You by Vanna Hari, Vanihari. It's an expose on the food industry. It's fascinating. It's how we are marketed to. And it's so slick and so convincing. And she goes into the money trail of how some of these studies are funded. And it's very circuitous, so that you don't connect who is actually funding to the result of the particular study. But it's targeted to tell us something we shouldn't be eating. Is healthy for us. So the labeling is another issue. Okay, so as you know, everything can be sugar's natural. Okay, and so now there are some people that know that sugar is a problem. So now you have all the artificial things that are just as deadly to us. So they get us both ways. If you're not watching, and I just picked up something the other day, and I'll have to show it on the Flourish, but it looked like we've got non-GMO, this,
all natural, natural ingredients. Yeah, it's natural cellulose.
Turn it over, and it's high fructose corn syrup. So they get away with it. They get away with marketing to us in a way, and it's in all of our children's little snacks and all of their cereals. Are really, really, I think at some point in time we will have labels that say, injurious to your health. You can go ahead and eat that cereal, but it's not going to serve you very well.
Kind of like smoking, right? They finally put on there, the Surgeon General, well, now that we have you hooked, continue the habit, but just know that we've told you that it's bad now for you.
Right. You can still have it. You can still have it, but here's a teensy little plain print telling you that it's really not good for you. But her book is really, I think, excellent, and she was getting death threats as it was about to be published.
Yeah, that's when you know that it's something worth reading, right?
Absolutely. Well, you have a fabulous day. Good to meet you.
Nice to
virtually.
Meet you. Yes. All right. I'm gonna do a little snapshot of us together. So, are you ready? All right. Thank you, Maria. So great to meet you.
Good to see you, Kim.
Bye now. Good day. And that is an amazing interview with an awesome woman, Maria. This is Maria. This is who you've been listening to for the past 35, 40 minutes. Amazing woman, 75 years young, living in Reno, Nevada. And what a pleasure, what an extreme honor to spend time on this call. And she was not able to jump on the Zoom call, so I recorded the conversation. Sorry, you just have to look at me throughout the whole thing, but this is who we've been talking to. Maria, she goes by Dr. Maria Christine, so her real name is Maria Sheehan, and she runs a Facebook group that I belong to called Flourishing. Oops. Flourish with Age. And this is Maria Sheehan. That's Maria, 75 years young. She's an amazing, look at that. Look at her. I'm just so honored and privileged to have the opportunity to speak with this woman today. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. More to come. I'm in the right place at the right time, and I am the right person. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Bye now.